Hello, everybody. Happy, marvelous Monday. I hope that you all are well. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm Karissa Span, the landlord and tenant coach. And let me just say, I took off for a week and I have missed you all so much. It feels like much longer than a week. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope that you had an opportunity to check out the description today because we are talking about a hot topic, something that I have been inboxed quite a bit about lately. And I wanted to share this information because you already know that I believe that sharing is caring. But before I get into the segment, just to give you a little bit information about me for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, again, let me say thank you so much for tuning in today. This is what I do each and every week. I bring information that is helpful for landlords as well as tenants to educate the entire rental community. I am the landlord and tenant coach. You can find me online at landlordlife.com, landlordlife.com. Look me up, Google me. I am a property management professional, a housing expert, all things property management, as well as a property management educator. So today we are talking about housing and human rights because essentially that's what it boils down to. So if you have comments or questions, remarks, or observations, I invite you to drop it in the comment section and I will respond to them accordingly. All right. If you are watching on my YouTube channel, go ahead, click that subscribe button so that you'll be the first to know when I am live and online. And if you're watching by way of Facebook, please make sure that you like my Facebook page. Please, sir, please, ma'am, if you find this information helpful or of value today, please do share with somebody because I want to get this information into the community so that people will be aware of their rights. There are a lot of myths floating around, and I want to dispel some of the misconceptions that people have about who is entitled to rent or not rent. Okay. And so, first and foremost, let me just start by saying that, again, housing is a human right. And yes, people do have choices. Let me just start there. People do have choices. That's on both sides of the aisles. Landlords, they have choices. Tenants and renters, they have choices. And even people who subscribe to a lifestyle that may not be popular for housing providers or owners, such as landlords, property managers. Listen, they have a right, they have a choice to choose an alternative lifestyle if that is what floats their boat. And so today I want to share information because, again, landlords do have choices. Okay. All right. So let me acknowledge a few people who are here today. Hello, Pete. Thank you so much for tuning in. Pete, you're tuning in from Baltimore, I believe. Is that right? Hello, Kimberly Parker. Thank you so much for tuning in. Kim, I believe you are tuned in from South Carolina. Is that correct? Listen, guys, I'm super excited that you're here today. And again, if you have questions, if you have comments, remarks, or observations, please drop it in the comment section. And please do excuse my raspy voice. I have had an outstanding weekend. As a matter of fact, the past week and a half, has been absolutely amazing for me. So I am back. I'm back on the saddle today. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. So Pete, you said, yes, you're tuning in from Baltimore. Thank you. Thank you. Kim, you said you're tuning in from South Carolina. Thank you so much. Listen, here is why I like to know where my viewers are tuned in from, because I enjoy sharing information, but I want to make sure that the information I share is applicable for you for the jurisdiction that you are watching in, right? So some laws may not apply to you if you're tuned in DC. Some laws may not apply to you if you're tuned in North Carolina or New York. So today, let's just get into the information today because I don't want to hold you long, but I do want to hold you long enough to share the information that I prepared for you on today. So the first thing that I do want to share is that there is such a thing called the Fair Housing Act. The Fair Housing Act came about in 1960. Does anybody know what year the Fair Housing Act came into existence? Put it in the chat box for me. I want to do a little quiz really quickly before I share this information, because I know that some of you do know, but then there are others who don't know this information. So Kim or Pete, anybody, tell me, what year did the Fair Housing Act come into manifestation? All right, so let's see. Oh, Pete, thank you for that. You said my raspy voice is fine. Okay, Kim, you said 1968. All right. Pete, you said 1968. Or did you forget? Which one is it? Are you guessing or did you forget? 1968. Okay, so the Fair Housing Act, it came about in 1968. And the Fair Housing Act, it came into existence to prevent housing discrimination. So it's not just for rental property, but it's also for the purchase or the sale of housing. But for the sake of this conversation, we want to stick to housing rental practices, residential rentals. Okay, so let me just share some information with you today. This is the purpose for the Fair Housing Act. The Fair Housing Act, it prohibits discrimination based off of race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, and disability. So I want people to really have that foundational knowledge and information first and foremost. Okay. Fair Housing Act was created to prevent discrimination. There are some classes that are protected. And so here are 7 classes, right, that are protected. Now, what does that mean? That means that landlords cannot discriminate. Housing owners cannot discriminate. Property managers cannot discriminate. And if discrimination takes place that touches any of these classes here that I've identified, that's on the screen, that means that the tenant, the applicant, or the prospect may have grounds to sue that owner. Now, if it's a business or a company, that individual can sue the company. They can sue the individual. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to make up a company. I'll just call it ABC Company, right? ABC Property Management Company is a large company. They manage over 20,000 rental properties throughout South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. All right. So the property management company is owned by a corporation. Now, discrimination takes place in, let's say, Florence, South Carolina, right? And so the property manager who runs the office out of Florence, South Carolina, they say some things to a prospect that is definitely a prohibited practice according to HUD and fair housing laws. And so this person decides to sue ABC Property Management Company, and they can also sue that property manager or whoever is responsible for violating the law. It's not just companies, it's individuals, it's companies. It also includes people who are connected inside the umbrella of that company. So please be aware of that. All right. So today we are talking about transgenders. Can landlords discriminate or refuse housing, if you will, to transgenders or people who are in the LGBTQ community, right? So that's what we're talking about today. People who are identified in this category, if they have experienced previously, if they think they currently are experiencing discrimination based off of the 7 protected classes that I just shared, they can definitely file a complaint with HUD. Now, here's the thing. They do not have to go into the office to file a complaint. Complaints can be filed online through the HUD app, in writing, by their attorney. They can call over the phone. There are so many ways that complaints can be filed. So please don't think that just because the person may not be, or the rental property may not be in the immediate area where they can physically or, actually go into a HUD office, that they can't file a complaint. Complaints can be filed in so many ways. And I know that a lot of people are really trying to take advantage of others, especially during the pandemic. And that's really heartbreaking because they seem to think that they don't have options. Well, the pandemic is not going to last forever and always. So once the pandemic is over, once everything returns to normal or is close to normal, and even now the courts are now opening back up and have opened in a lot of jurisdictions. And so there will be a lot of cases filed for discrimination. I have been hearing complaints by tenants and prospects, as well as applicants, over landlords violating them. So this is why I want to share this information today. All right, so Pete, you said ABC Company is a real company. I know that it is somewhere, but for the sake of time and this discussion today, I just pulled it from out of them blue air. Hey, listen, Pete, is this one of your companies? Because I know that you're big in property management and real estate development. So if that's your company, I didn't mean to put your company on blast. All right, so let me get back into the discussion here, because I do have some more information that I want to share. When it comes to HUD, okay, HUD is the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. You can find them online at HUD.gov, G-O-V. HUD is committed to investigating violations for fair housing. All right, Fair Housing Acts, and acts that's pretty much against individuals, right? And so, as I've stated before, housing is a human right, and if a person decides that they want to be gay, they are gay, they were born gay, or whatever their preference is, whether they're gay, they're lesbian, they're transgender, queer, whatever, that is their choice. People have a right to still live, all right? Even if you are the owner and you believe that, maybe they shouldn't live that way. Well, here's the thing. We all have something that we are either dealing with, have dealt with, that others might be, not so proud to know, right? So there are some skeletons in a lot of closets of people who's watching, including myself. So just because people have skeletons in their closet, or they're just flat out, and they just live an open life, expressing who they are, nobody has a right to deny them housing, right? Nobody deserves to be treated like that. And so this is one of the reasons I believe that HUD has made this an important part of their policy, to make sure that people understand. And so there are awareness campaigns going around so that people, renters that is, will know that they do have rights. Okay, so here is an example. This is what I do want to share. Here is an example of a prohibited practice. All right, so a transgender woman is asked by the owner of the apartment building not to dress in women's clothing in the common areas of the property. That is a violation of fair housing laws. That is a violation. And people may not realize that even in just simple conversation or joking conversation, sometimes things do cross the line. And asking people to not be who they are when they have a right to be who they are could cause a lawsuit to easily come about. So this is why I'm sharing this information, because sometimes people, I know for me, I am an individual who joke a lot, but there are certain barriers I refuse to cross because I'm always aware of somebody else's feelings, right? And even if I don't subscribe to the lifestyle, if I don't subscribe to the behavior, the activity that's taking place, I am still mindful that people have a right to be who they are. I don't have a hell or a heaven to put them in. It's not my place to judge them. All right, so that is one of the biggest things. All right, I'm going to share another example, because again, it is so easy to violate the law and people not really know it or understand. Pete, you said that's common sense, though. I know common sense isn't that common. Pete, you already know that's exactly what I was getting ready to share. Common sense is just not so common for everybody, and it is unfortunate. But here's the thing. That's why they are allowed to file lawsuits. So here is a second example I want to share. And I know that this is not going to be a topic that a lot of people are tuning into today. But here's our second example. A gay man is evicted because his landlord believes he will infect other tenants with HIV or AIDS in the building. That is a violation of fair housing law. All right. And even if in that particular jurisdiction, the judge may not know fair housing law and allow that landlord to evict, that tenant still does have a right to sue the landlord. All right. So laws are in place to protect tenants and to make sure that there is an understanding on both sides of the aisles. That's for landlords and that's also for tenants. So let me just post HUD's website. If you have any questions pertaining to fair housing laws, please go online and look it up for yourself. Don't believe what I'm telling you. I want you to go online. And I promise you that the information that I'm sharing today is not legal advice, right? But I'm telling you what the law says that you must or must not do. So if you have questions pertaining to fair housing laws, please visit hud.gov/fair housing. Look it up for yourself. And there are resources. So if you know someone in that community and they need resources, here is another website, HUD's website, that does provide resources for people who are in the community of LGBT. I think they left out something here. They left out the Q, but this is the website. This is not my website. So please don't be mean. Don't beat me up. This is HUD's website for more information and resources. But again, I want people to understand that when it comes to fair housing, it's protected to prevent discrimination. There are so many practices that are prohibited that a lot of people may not even recognize. And so if you are in a jurisdiction and you have a lot of people who are in your community that falls under this category, and again, fair housing laws, it protects people based off of race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, and disability. So please make sure that as a landlord, you are knowledgeable and aware of what you can and cannot do. And if you have any questions about fair housing laws, now let me just also add, let me just put a plug here. When it comes to marketing and advertising, it's one of the things that I teach in my landlord training. Marketing and advertising, you have to be careful with how you market and advertise, because although people are trying to be creative now when it comes to marketing and advertising their rental property, it still sometimes can violate fair housing laws. So please be knowledgeable. Please understand the laws. Please be aware of the changes that are taking place in jurisdictions all around the United States. So please jot this information down. Again, please go to HUD's website if you have questions on fair housing law. I would rather you get this information. It costs you absolutely nothing to get this information, but I promise you it can cost you thousands if you violate the law. Somebody take you to court. Nobody is exempt. Nobody is above the law. And that is really all of the information that I wanted to share today, because I've been getting a lot of messages about that. And I know that there is some conversation floating around now about transgender and the transgender community. So I hope that this was helpful. Pete, was it anything that you wanted to share? I saw some of your comments a little bit earlier. Kim, are you still there? Did you have any other comments, any questions that you wanted to ask about this subject matter? And while I'm waiting on any additional comments that you have, let me just also state that part of HUD's mission is to give every person and families access to safe, secure, and affordable housing. This includes ensuring that fair and equal access to housing for all Americans is happening. And that's regardless of their sexual orientation, that's regardless of their gender identity or their marital status. And I know that one of the things that HUD is working on is to promote, to strengthen, and to create opportunities for the LGBTQ community, because they want to make sure that they are included in the rental community as well as the rental housing programs. So please be aware. And again, please look up the website if you need more information. Okay, so I see your comment, Pete, that I pretty much covered everything. Okay, well, great. I am so excited that you're here today. Like I said, this is what I do each and every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Please make sure that you are tuning in. Please do like, please do share, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel as well as my Facebook page. I appreciate you all for tuning in week after week. It is certainly my passion to share information because, again, sharing is caring. My goal and desire at the end of the day is to see landlords running and operating their business like a business. Because again, I believe that if you operate it, you run it like a business, it's going to pay you like a business. If you run it or treat it like a hobby, it's going to do just that. It's going to pay you or treat you like it is a hobby. And again, nobody is exempt from the law, right? And so it is always in your best interest to get information. It costs you absolutely nothing. It's free 99 to tune in each and every Monday. Hear my raspy voice. Pete, I know that you said it's okay. But catch me on Wednesday, midday at noon, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My voice might be a little more settled. So that's it. My time is up. And I thank you for yours. If you have questions, I'm always available. You can always drop your comment in your question in the comment section. Or if you want to email me, you can definitely do that. You can email me. Let me just put my email address up on the screen so that you can have it. It is, that's my website right there. You can find me online. My email address, you can email me first name, last name, carissaspan@gmail.com. This is my email address here. Feel free to contact me. If I'm not online, you can always email me and I will respond. If you have questions for me, if you have topics or suggestions for upcoming segment and topics that you would like for me to discuss, please email me. I have no problem sharing information. And so for those of you who are interested in the Section 8 program, you want more information about Section 8, if you are a tenant in the Section 8 program and maybe you're not aware that you can actually use your Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher to purchase a home, I'm going to be sharing more information about that, as well as for landlords who have property and maybe you're trying to sell it and maybe want to sell your rental property to someone in the Section 8 program. I will be sharing that information and a whole lot more in the upcoming weeks. So stay tuned. My time is up. And again, I do thank you for yours. I hope to see you all next week right here on this channel at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Kim, any last minute comments or remarks? Pete, any last minute comments or remarks before I tune out and jump off? Any last minute comments or questions before I end this segment? Because I want to make sure that I see that a couple of people just joined. So again, tonight we talked about transgenders and whether or not landlords can deny transgenders from renting. So if you're just tuning in, please go back and watch the replay. If you have questions, I've listed some websites that you can go and get more information. I've listed my website and my email address. If you have any questions, I am always available. I am always here for you guys. And I, again, will see you all next week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye for now.